This is a unique tool. It is the longest continuously produced multi-tool. It started this production of the Kutmaster Multimaster tool in 1987 and is still being produced today. It is a USA made tool. It's made by the Utica Cutlery Company. I'm going to tell you about this tool and what was its original competitor. Come on in. This is Haku EDC. This is Multi-Tool Monday, where we take out a tool that is comparable to like Leatherman or one of its competitors, and then we just do a little quick talk about it. This Multimaster tool is still being produced 35 years later. From the late 80s to 2025. That's great to see because it is an American-made product. And it means there are people out there that would like to use this tool. Let me give you a little history of the tool and the company. The Utica Cutlery Company is in Utica, New York. They started out in 1910 specializing in knives and kitchen cutlery. They still do produce some kitchen cutlery and knives. This tool, it is called the Multimaster. It has also been sold by Caterpillar, who sold it to people mostly in like the farming community, by Klein Tools. It was used as sort of kind of a backup tool for like their linemen. I always wondered if there was ever any confusion because Klein makes multimeters and this is a Multimaster. Pronto Tools sold this in like the 90s. Pronto Tools is now a division of I think Black and Decker, if I remember correctly. That's a little bit of history of the company and of the tool here. Let's go to some of the basic information about the tool. Let's check out its weight. The weight is 235 grams. Now, because it was built, its competitor at the point in time when it came out, the Leatherman PST, let's compare its weight to that. This is 147, so about 90 grams more. We have to remember that back in the 1990s, early 1980s, tools like this were, if they were heavier, they were considered better and more useful and longer lasting. Whether that's true or not, as we've come to find out, is not always the case. Now, this particular tool has kind of a needle nose but stumped top of it. It's got little grippers in here, and then this is for pliers that you can turn things with, and then it has wire cutters in the center there. You can tell the wire cutters, and I've actually tried them. In fact, I should try them here. That they work pretty well as wire cutters. As we go into the other things, on one side there's a series of tools here. These tools are held in place by screws, regular screws that you can unscrew and screw them back in. It would be easier to change their locations if that's what you wanted to do. But it has your can opener, bottle opener combo here. As you can tell, it doesn't lock. If you were to tighten up the screws tight enough, you have to lock them down. Then it has a couple of, one kind of serrated blade here and then saw. That's all that these blades are doing. So having two of these blades is kind of an interesting decision-making process. Then it has a file. And this file works well. There are two different files here. This one works a little bit better on this side than on that side. And they all have nail nicks to pull them out with. And then the last thing here would be the knife. This knife came out of the shop pretty sharp, and it's still relatively sharp to deal with. And I like using it. It doesn't lock in place unless you screw these down tight, which you're able to do. The surprise for this particular multi-tool is that it does come with a sheath, and it does come with a little pocketed piece that carries 1/4-inch bits. The place where you put the 1/4-inch bit is at the bottom here. You put the 1/4-inch bit there. There's a magnet in there so that you can use the 1/4-inch bit. This tool has been around, as I said, since the 1980s. This is a newer one. I think that this one's probably 2015 to 2018 era. The older ones, that once you get back into the 1900s, you will get this. You can tell a slight difference here. Size-wise, this one's going to be a little longer, more needly nosed versus more stumped here. This is a wider piece in here, but otherwise, it is essentially the same device. A couple of cosmetic changes are on this one here, that the name etched here a little bit. It looks like it is more closer to printed on than actually, and then this one is actually stamped on here. At the bottom of these, they do have inches and centimeter rulers. That makes them good for measuring small. You can tell right here that this one's a little older and that this is a little bent in to hold this in place, where this one is on much more of a rounded rocker piece. So that's the difference between the old ones and the new ones. This is the Kutmaster Multimaster 3566, union made in the USA. This is Haku EDC. I will see you in the future.